Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Michael Cummings. I'm the president of the STP Institute, and I have the great pleasure of working with many MSPs across the country to help them build a formidable sales engine. And many of these clients are growing by about 25 to 40% annually in their revenue. So there's a lot of best practices that we've been able to prove within this group that I want to share with you. And in particular, the last 2 weeks, I've been working with two of the best top performing salespeople in the whole industry. What I noticed, they had a very similar approach to one another, and their approach was fundamentally different from what I perceive with most other salespeople in the MSP industry. So the purpose of today's presentation is I want to go through what it is these two guys do, distinguish it from what I see as the more typical approach employed by MSPs throughout the industry, and show you how you can start doing the same things these two guys do. And the premise really is pretty simple about what makes these two gentlemen excel. Is what this slide shows is on the right-hand side is a view of the world from a customer or prospect's perspective. It's called the value proposition canvas because what we have to do is define our value in terms that are meaningful, relevant, and compelling to a customer. And the way you do that is you understand their world. And what this says is that customers really care about their jobs. What they're really concerned about is their job performance, what it is they need to do to make themselves successful, what it is they need to make their business successful. And that colors their view of everything that interacts with them in their world. And what they're in particular, what they value is things that help them achieve their gains, things they want to achieve in their job, and how to either prevent, solve, or quickly alleviate pains, things that frustrate them in doing a good job. And that's really all they care about from that perspective. What the left-hand side depicts is us. It talks about us as an MSP. And as you say, our products and our services or our offerings are not intrinsically valuable to a customer or prospect. What we have to do to have a very strong and compelling value proposition is we have to make the translation from what it is we do to the capabilities that allow our prospect and customers to do their job better. Those things are either gain creators or pain relievers. And what I noticed with these two excellent salespeople is they immediately relate to the customer perspective. So if they're talking to a CFO of a construction company or the medical practice administrator or somebody that's in charge of an ERP system, a manufacturing company, what they can really do most effectively is tap into that person's world and establish the value proposition was the intersection of those two lines. Is what is it that we bring to the table? What can we offer you that actually solves one of your most critical pains or helps you achieve one of your most important gains? And fundamentally, that's what these guys are excellent at. And what I want to do now is show you how they do that fundamentally. So if you go here, this is actually a slide that I got from Cisco when I used to work for them for a number of years in their channels organization. And if you think about Cisco, they tend to do things like servers, they do things like switches, they do things like routers, they have middleware. And so Cisco's offerings tend to be below the line that I have here in the slide. And what we realized was Cisco channel partners and Cisco salespeople, we really cared about the stuff that was below the line. Like we could talk forever about why our network software is the most effective, why our hardware is the most efficient, why our middleware enabled you to do things that other middleware couldn't do. But what we realized was that was kind of invisible to most of the owners of companies we talked to or senior executives at larger enterprises. And what we had to realize is they looked at the world completely differently. And they tended to look at the world from the top of the slide on down. And so what they care about are, do my employees have all the tools they need to do their job and to be productive? They care about, are my business processes in place and working the way they need to work on a world-class basis? Whether a business process could be supply chain management, it could be billing, whatever a mission-critical application is in a business process associated with it, that's what they care about. And frankly, as far as they tended to get in terms of technology was applications, particularly line of business applications. They would care whether their ERP system was working correctly, whether their accounting systems were working correctly, whether, frankly, their email systems were always up and reliable. So from a technology standpoint, they tended to look towards from the top of this pyramid, top of this slide on down. And again, what I've noticed with people, both at Cisco, frankly, as well as the salespeople I work with at MSPs, is that they excel at above the line discussions, business discussions with prospects and customers. They go in, and when they try to get, for example, a meeting with a medical practice administrator, they're talking about how can we make your doctors more productive? They were talking about how can we help your patient scheduling system work better so you get people in and out more quickly and make more money that way. They spent a lot of time helping them improve the performance of their EMR systems. So the discussions they have and the way they get meetings with prospects and the way they impress people in discovery meetings is they operate above the line, and they make the things that are below the line relevant to those things above the line. Easiest way to say it. And here's an example. One of the gentlemen I was working with last week specializes in construction, selling MRR services to construction companies. And when he makes phone calls or when he goes to meetings, he never mentions anything related to the MSP offerings in terms of the specific offering itself. He's not selling features and benefits, in other words. He goes in there and asks them, how do you guys currently do your bidding and proposing and quoting? Is that working for you? What would happen if that went down for a day? He talks to them about their project management software. Is it performing well? Is it fast, efficient? Is it reliable? Can people get access to it? Did you ever have downtime with that? He'll also talk to them a little bit about their remote access points because construction people tend to be out on the road a lot. So is it reliable? Can your people get in? Did you ever have downtime there? So all of his discussions are really from that customer or prospect business perspective. It's not a technology discussion. It's really around how is your business being negatively affected by your technology letting you down? Or what could you do to make this process work better by using technology you're not using today? So the bottom line I wanted to give to you guys today was take a look at your own prospecting. Is it too technology focused? Is it too below the line or invisible to buyers and prospects? And just take a look at where are we good? I mean, what industries do we know well? Where could we have these discussions with CFOs and owners? Where do we know a business well enough to use that as a way to have a credible entree into these companies? And so here's a quick wrap up. Check to see if your value proposition's on target or not. Realize that buyers really don't care about you or your offering. They do care about their business and their job-related points of pain. And what they do when they buy your services, what they're really doing is buying your services to either alleviate a pain or to achieve a really compelling gain that they're after. And make a judgment. Decide, are we taking way too much of a technology focus? Are we over-focused on things like security or over-focused on doing network assessments? How do we change our sales process to be more in line with the way people buy services? And one resource we have for you is the surgical prospecting program. What we did was take the approaches that people like the two gentlemen I talked about who are top performing salespeople, and we really broke down what they did and how you could do the same thing. If you go to www.thestpi.com and click on the surgical prospecting tab, you'll learn more about how you can start doing the same things. Thank you for your time.